Hi, welcome back to another Hour with Crowder with me, your host, Crowder. Like, share, subscribe, and comment. And if you're already a subscriber, go ahead and ding the bell so that you can get all of my latest podcast interviews. Today, we got another good-ass guest, DeMarcus Hicks.
What's up?
Hey, what up?
Glad to be here.
I almost didn't get you.
I know. It's so crazy.
Shit, you almost didn't get here. But for the people that don't know you, of course, I follow a lot of the things that you're doing as far as the community, as far as the church, as far as your regular life, because you're my friend. So I follow you a lot on everything. But for the audience, tell us a little bit about the Texas Takeover Convention and a little bit of more what you do with that type of thing.
Oh, well, for those who don't know me, I've been in my ministry almost 20 years. I do a lot of community work, like giving back to the homeless, to my mentorship program, to the classes I do every Sunday I teach. The Takeover Conference, Dallas, is a conference that I started that targets the worship arts and ministry in churches, whether it be singing, dancing, flag, warfare, whatever you do to give God praise in that avenue. It's a conference where we come together and we teach and we give you the tools to be successful and to further your ministry in whatever you do. I think a lot of people like to tell you to do something, but they don't give you the how or the how-to. And so this conference is a how-to book, just in a conference form. You're going to come and get all types of teaching, all types of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and you're going to be able to be the best version of you in whatever you pursue for God, and that's it. So, it'll be here September 25th through the 27th, right here in Garland, Texas, which is a suburb of Dallas for those who don't know. We'll be right there, and it's going to be amazing. We have ministries from all over, from Florida to South Carolina to Colorado to California to we even have a ministry coming from the Bahamas that'll be there. So
really, Bahamas?
The Bahamas. She came last year, so she was super excited to come back. So we're super excited. So
that's crazy. What about that whole thing that happened in Florida? The fact that they still want to come out here even after all of that stuff happened out there.
It's because they support, and that's what you call real friends. They support you. So shout out to them. So for sure.
Yeah, so let's get right into the damn meat and potatoes of the situation. I got a bunch of questions to ask you, mainly because I'm just like, how does this work? What do they do? Why do they do this? And I am a churchgoer. I'm a Christian. I don't really subscribe too much to the Bible, but I do follow I believe in God. I follow Jesus' teachings. But here's the first one is for when you're praising the Lord, the whole thing about Lecrae, and you're familiar with Lecrae. He's a gospel rapper, and then Kanye just recently made Jesus is King. How do you feel about that one?
I had initially, I was like, I don't know, but what we have to understand is God's power is able to overcome anything. So, we pray for people to be changed. We pray for people to find God. And so if Kanye has finally found his light, who are we to judge him? Who are we to tell him he can't make a gospel album just because he spent his years creating secular music? That's the same way that gospel artists now are teaming up with secular artists. Do we crucify them too because they're teaming up with secular artists? No, we welcome that unity and that collaboration. Why? Because that means God is true to what he says. He transcends all boundaries, regardless of genre. God is a God, So I love the move that Snoop made. I love the move that
I forgot about him.
Yeah,
Snoop.
Snoop made the Bible of Love album that went platinum, and he got several stellar awards for that album. Kanye's album went platinum as well. So these are, if we look at it, God is using main hitters or heavy hitters to get his word out. Who else can get the word out to a bigger audience like Kanye, like Snoop?
He's big.
These are big people. Not saying gospel artists don't have a following.
Yeah, because I love what's her name? Tamela Mann.
Oh, Tamela Mann is...
She's fine. She lost all that damn weight. She's fine now. I'm still wondering how Brown got her. That dude right there.
They've been married for a long time.
But do you feel like... Now that you say that, those are just words. But do you think that praise dancing, miming, and stuff like that should be confined to only gospel music, or can it be teamed up with secular? Like, can we, like, the whole, did you see the one viral song about we some head busters?
We'll knock you out for the Lord.
That's my shit, though. I really wanted to knock somebody out for the Lord, though, when I heard it, though.
I was angry. I was like, you remember back in the club days when Nuck If Your Butt came
on? That shit, gospel style.
We gotta be just as ruthless. Like my friend Tamesia, she's watching. Like she always says, God just takes what you used to do in the club, who you are in the natural, and he brings it to the supernatural. So if you was a fighter in the natural, guess what? You're going to be a fighter for God. So we're going to knock you out for the Lord now. Even though we knocked you out in the club, we're going to knock you out for the Lord.
Yeah, but that's something that they took. They took something that they knew, like Headbusters. That was a big song back in the mid-'90s, and they turned it into a gospel. Do you think the same thing can be done for praise dancing?
I think so. I've done, like I said, I've ministered in clubs. I've ministered in all kind of things. I've ministered at weddings. I've done love songs. I've done, I've ministered in the prisons. So you take God wherever you are. It doesn't mean that you have to confine it to a genre, because we praise God. God uses our gift in different ways. God can take me as a mime, put me to a love song, and that's somebody's wedding. He can put me in a church, and that's somebody's deliverance. God is just a God of all boundaries. Like I said, he transcends. So dance is dance. Dance was around, can't even talk, way before mime and praise dance came into play.
What was it? What was the origins of miming? Because I know from a fact, I used to be a praise dancer. Don't kill me. But I used to be a praise dancer, and of course I didn't really like it that much. My mom took me out. It just wasn't my thing. But then mime slowly crept in, and I think that it was because they wanted something for the men.
Right, and they wanted something different that looked masculine. I'm going to be honest, when back in the day, in order for you to dance, you had to dance with the praise dance team.
Yeah.
I started out as a praise dancer. But when I was introduced to mime, shout out to K&K Mime, who are the godfathers of gospel mime.
Who is that?
They are twins out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. They were pretty much the pioneers of this gospel mime movement. They were opening up, they were dancing for people like Kirk Franklin, Tamla Mann, Donnie McClurk and Yolanda Adams. They were dancing on main stages, and they made this thing popular. And so they kind of set the trail for all of us to be like, okay, this is kind of cool. But mime in itself originated back in France. The original mimes were Dr. Marcel Marceau used mime as entertainment for royalty. Like when the kings and queens and princes used to have parties, the mimes would dance for them. They would do little acts for them. And so that's where it comes from. It comes from an entertainment background. So now we use it in the church. Now we take it, we take the entertainment portion and we couple it with the Spirit of God. And now you got mime ministry, not just mime. Now you have mime ministry. Why? Because we took something that was for entertainment, coupled it with the anointing from God, and now we're able to reach people without even saying a word. Now we can show the emotion of what we've gone through without opening our mouths. And so that's why I think mime has really appealed to people, because I ain't got to be in your business. You can just watch me. I ain't got to know nothing about you, but you can see yourself in my ministry. When I dance, people be like, how did you know I was just going through suicidal thoughts? How did you know I was just going through depression? That song really spoke to me. It's because we don't use our words to speak. We use our bodies to evoke emotions and things that people are going through. So I think that's why my ministry is so powerful.
It's funny that you say that, because with the whole thing about words, people can trick you with their words. People can, especially like, that's why a lot of people are leaving like the church, because they're so tired of like pastors giving out this word of like this, what is it called? Like this prosperity speech,
just the prophecies.
Yeah, like they want to hear real talk, real like worship, real praise. They don't want to get fooled every Sunday out of their pocketbook. And you're right. You just want to be able. So basically, y'all are doing the action part of it.
Yeah, it's like a movie. When you turn on a movie, you never know what that movie's going to do for you. You don't know if that movie's going to speak to a part of your life. But a lot of times, people like movies that are like them. Like I like movies that have a storyline, that have great detail about transition and how life has transformed. And so I think a lot of people, like you said, the reason why people have refrained from church is because church has become a place where I just want you to sow into, I want you to pull your pocketbook out, sow into the ministry, and then you not reap anything in return. Why is the leader prospering and you're not? Why is the leader driving a fancy car but you're not? If your leader is really a man of God and woman of God, that is prospering, guess what? What the head does, the body has to follow. And that's when you say they want real authentic. That's who I am. I don't sugarcoat it. I tell my story. I tell people honestly where I was. I don't hide anything because people gravitate towards truth. People gravitate towards the real and authentic. I don't want you to give me what I call it the Hallmark card of religion. I don't want you to give me a postcard that you've heard. I want you to give me personal experience. What has God done for you? Can you tell me about a time when you was about to be on your deathbed? How did you get out of that? Can you tell me about a time when you were going through suicidal thoughts? Tell me how you felt in that moment. So a lot of times people want real and authentic, and that's why I pride myself on doing that. I don't want to give you fake. I don't want to give you, oh, well, God's going to do it. Just pray. No, I'm going to tell you, guess what? It's okay to feel how you feel. It's valid. But guess what? Get back up, dust yourself off, and get back in the grind of things. Don't let this thing keep you down. Don't let this thing keep you bound. You are more than just that situation. Don't let people's words trap you. A lot of people will talk you into some mess that you've came out of. People will talk you into foolishness. Why am I going to go back to where I was 15 years ago? Why are you still trying to take me back down where I was a teenager?
Yeah, it's funny that you say like about the monetary perspective about church, because that is a big thing happening. And I'm glad that you said it, because I want to know, do you feel like praise dancers, mimes, and other type of ministries in the church should get paid like the pastor do? Because the pastor gets paid, and the musicians get paid, but then when it comes to mime, the choir, praise dancers, they don't get anything.
No, we don't.
So it's like, honestly, nobody should get paid. If it's a gift that God gave you, do it for free. Do it for free. No pastor should be getting should be living off the the church's money. That's just how I feel about it. If y'all don't get paid, nobody should get paid.
Here's the thing about that. I'm glad you brought this up, because I'm going to address this in there's a lot of ministries on my live right now that I'm going, and I want to bring this up.
And I just want to add one more thing. A love offering is not getting paid. That's just y'all taking a percentage of what y'all did not do today, or benefiting and taking advantage of someone that was nice enough to come across the country or to your church or whatever, and saying, oh, that was a good ministry, and then you give them a love offering of like $25 or whatever the church scrounged up, and then send them on their way. No, pay me like you pay the musical team. Pay me like you pay yourself. It's ridiculous. I just had this conversation with one of my coworkers the other day.
Here's the thing about that, and I'm glad that this is, we got a platform to talk about this. When we talk about payment, ministry is not a job that you can just clock in and clock out. I don't work 40 hours a week and then clock out and I'm done. Ministry is a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week job. There's times where I'm up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Do I get paid for those hours? No. So why do I, and here's the thing. If you can fork out money to pay your musician, your singer, your guest preacher, why is it that the dance ministry always gets overlooked? It's because we're looked at as
entertainment for the church.
Program fillers. We're just we want to throw a dancer in there just to program fill, just to make it seem like a full program. But what you don't understand is the same time it takes to prepare my message through my ministry, I do it the same way that the guest preacher takes his time to prepare his sermon. It's the same amount of time, just different ministries. I don't have time for you to try to prostitute my gift for your own liking.
That was a bar. Prostitute my gift.
Like you want me to prostitute my gift so that other people feel like you're really who you are. I'm not going to be on your program so that people can feel like you are who you are. Because a lot of people will do a whole lot of things so that people can overlook the dirt that they really do or overlook who they really are. You want people to feel like you're really doing this thing for real, like you're serving God, but all you're doing is prostituting everybody to make it look like a certain thing. It's a mirage.
Yeah, to make your church look like a certain type of thing that it's really not. Or it might be really that, but it still stands the fact that you're prostituting out a gift.
Yeah, you're prostituting my gift. And here's the thing. If I'm going to prostitute, I'm going to get paid. Okay, if just like a prostitute in the streets, she don't do nothing without getting paid. If I'm a prostitute, my gift, I'm going to get paid. And a lot of people look at dancers, oh, they just getting up here dancing for 8 minutes. No, we prepare. There's hours spent on choreography. There's hours spent getting custom garments made. There's a lot of money that we spend.
Yeah, my mom was forking out a lot of money for those damn dancer suits.
Man,
it was crazy. All of the getting them custom made because you can't go against the grain and do it like this church is, and then you have to get the embroidery of your church's symbol on it, and then like you said, hours of service. You have to go off in there and every Saturday go in there, praise dance it, get it right, get it together tight and everything for the church's entertainment.
Let me speak of, and I want to say this before we move to the next subject. I want to say this to all my praise dancers and moms that may be watching, or people in ministry, or people in business. Let's just talk about business in general.
Yeah, because it's a business at the end of the day, just like the church is.
Right. Don't allow people to manipulate you to doing stuff for free when you are worth the price of admission. You're worth that. When you created your product, you made it the best you could, and it's worth that. Don't allow people to say, you know what, give me free samples. You don't give free samples all your life. At some point, they've seen your work. They know what it is. So when are you going to start holding people accountable to treating you how you're supposed to be treated, to loving you? When you pay people, or when you treat people well, that's love. That's a form of love. If I don't want to pay you, that means I really don't have respect for you or your art form or what you do. If I'm not willing to sow financially, if I'm not willing to, just like if you came to me, and one thing that I love that you said, and I'm gonna be honest, and I said, man, I wish the church would do this. And you said something, and it was something so simple. You said, can you send me your Cash App because I want to buy a shirt because I believe in supporting the people that come to my show.
Yeah.
That's called love. When you can pour into somebody else just because, that's love. And so we as the church have to get back to the virtue of love, what God called us to. That was the first commandment God gave, was to love thy neighbor as thyself. How can I say not paying you is loving thy neighbor as myself? Because I'm going to make sure I'm protected. Because
they blame it on that it's a gift from God and you should give it back. Well, I don't see you over there giving what you got back. I see you driving in a Rolls Royce and parking in the front of the church.
But the Bible also says, and this is the part where people miss, the Bible also says a man is worthy of his wage. When people go forth in ministry, we are worthy of the wage that we are due. We are, God rewards us on the back end, yeah, but if you invite me to your program, and not only you ask me to do 1, but 2 selections, I'm putting my body on the line as a dancer. People have broken limbs. People have, sprained their ankle. People have broken their arm. We put our bodies on the line. Our health is at risk. So you're asking me to put my health at risk for free? You're asking me to risk breaking my leg for free? When I got to pay hospital bills after I leave here if I break my leg? So that's the stuff people don't think about in ministry, is that every time that we go forth in ministry, we're putting ourselves on the line. And you're asking me to really put myself on the line, and the devil doesn't care. He's going to attack us anyway. So you're asking me not only to get attacked by the enemy, put my health at risk, and to deal with all the church folk for free. I don't know who in the world is going to do that. Who in the world is going to do that? We have really gotten beside ourselves. We have to treat people better, and part of treating people better is pouring into them and showing them love by paying them what they're worth. And
it's a really crazy thing with the praise dance, because we do kind of look at y'all like entertainment. We don't think of y'all as something we don't think of y'all as like the pastor, as holy as the pastor or like the choir or whatever. And they also should be on the payroll too. But what is the median for y'all collecting the funds that y'all need to be doing this?
The meeting is for ministries to get business smart, for ministries to get business minded, get contracts in place, hold people accountable, get paperwork in place. I have a contract. Whenever I step outside of the state of Texas or the city of Dallas, there's a contract coming to you that's gonna protect me to make sure that I'm gonna get at least what I need to fulfill the job. Just like when you contract somebody, let's say you have an event and you hire a caterer or a DJ. They're going to give you a contract and say, I'm going to be there X amount of hours and you're going to pay me this amount of money. This is what I require. Do we still get those services? Do we still go through it? Yeah. We pay for those DJs. We pay for those caterers. So why can't we pay for our ministries? It's the same. You're hiring me to do a job. I can't fulfill my job without the finances. I can't fulfill my job without making sure everything's in place. So just like that DJ or that caterer gets paid, that ministry that you're hiring for your event should get paid. So get business minded. That's number one.
Yeah.
Get legal. Go register your ministry as a business.
Like an LLC?
Yeah, I have my ministry is a nonprofit. So anything that I do, I can really sue if there's a breach of contract. A lot of people can't take that into consideration because they're not legal. So get legal. And yeah, you have to get business minded. A lot of people are afraid to talk about this in the church because that'll take the I call the dependency off of the leadership. If I get financially free where I can start moving on my own, then I won't need the church to be my all in all.
Yep.
So a lot of times church will try to keep you bound in dependency. I need you to be dependent upon me to go anywhere. I should not have to depend on the church for me to go out of state. I should be able to do that in the comfort of my own ministry, but that takes you having to do your research, do your homework, be business-minded. Just like you start your T-shirt business and all of this, your ministry is the same way. Protect yourself. You can't expect people to protect you when you're not taking the measures to protect yourself.
Just like the Les twins.
Yeah.
Those two. Do you think Beyonce was like, hey, you guys come on here and do this for free because you're in a Beyonce video? No, I'm pretty sure those guys had a contract. Like, hey, I don't care if you're Beyonce. You got to pay me.
Pay me. And that's the thing. We in the church, we take it as, well,
money is the root of all evil, but they ask for it every damn Sunday.
Oh, well, God delivered you, so you owe God this. I owe God my ministry for free. I don't owe you. Exactly. I owe God my ministry for free, and I do that. But I don't owe you my ministry for free. You didn't save me. You didn't deliver me. You didn't pull me out of no mess. So when you're hiring me or contracting me to do a job, just like this morning, I ministered at a funeral. There was a contract that was in place that had to be signed between the family and I. Hey, this is what you're requesting me to do. This is what we agreed upon. So if there's any backing out, I can take that and say, you know what? I can take you to small claims court and say, hey, we had a contract in place. They didn't follow through with what they said, but I can't do that. I don't
care about your dead granny. You still have to pay me.
Yeah, I can't do that if I'm not legal. I can't do that if I'm not taking steps to be business minded and business. Or how do you think T.D. Jakes runs his business? He don't just say this is the church and everybody should do things for free. No, he has a multi-million-dollar business, but he has paperwork in place with staff, with even the ministers that's on his staff. They have a salary. His ushers, everybody in his church get paid. Why? Because he's running a multi-million-dollar business. But we as small churches or churches down home, we don't feel like the church should be profiting, and that's the problem.
And that's the crazy thing, because me personally, one, I don't feel like the pastors and anybody should get paid. If everybody's not getting paid, nobody should get paid. Two, I feel like that tithe money, after you pay the bills, because let's get real, nobody wants to have church outside. It's either hot in Texas or it's cold. There's no in between. We should be taking that tithe money, and there's 1,000 churches in the hood. It's almost a church on every block. I think that we should take what is left over from the church tithes after paying the bills, and we should fix up our hood. we know that the government isn't doing it for us unless they're coming in to gentrify the hood, and that's to move us out. That's not to help us. It's to move us out. And I think that we should take that money that's left over, fix up our hood, and do what God called us to do, which is help the people around us. Love, that first commandment, right? Love your neighbor, or I don't think that's first, but love your neighbors like you love yourself. Okay, that house that's sitting next to your church that's all ran down, and all the people that's walking up and down your hood, minister to them. But you know how you get people in? You help them out financially, because that's the quickest way to someone's heart. If someone gives you $1, I give like money to this homeless man on Martin Luther King, like almost like every week. Every Thursday I get paid. I shoot him a $5. He knows my car now. Why? Because I support him financially. Yes, I want you to get a job, Henry, but I want you to know that I love you first, and whether you get off the streets or not, I just want to pour into you financially, because I know one day maybe you'll get it, and you'll stack those $5 bills up, and you'll go get yourself a nice suit, go out and go get a job, and then you can say, hey, that girl in the Honda Accord, she gave me a $5 every day. It doesn't matter if I spent it on drugs or food. She gave me a $5 every Thursday, and I knew that she loved me for whatever reason.
Right.
Even found out his name was damn Henry.
I agree with you. And the reason why we as a church can't seem to do church work or kingdom business is because we're too busy trying to be served. We want everybody to serve us, when the church should be doing the serving. People should not come in church and feel like they have to serve the leader or serve those in ministry. We should be the ones that's rolling out the red carpet. We should be the ones opening the silver platter, saying, hey, here's a meal, here's this, here's that. And the reason why we can't attack our hoods the right way and to help our neighborhoods is because there's so much division in the body of Christ. I want my church to be bigger than your church. But just think about, what if all the churches was a network, and they began to network and say, you know what, let's create a network of churches that will go out into the community and do renovation projects.
Dude, it is legitly like 7 churches where my church is on the same street. And these are big, beautiful churches. I think it's in Cedar Hill. Big, beautiful churches. Why is there 7 churches on the block? I have no idea. Maybe it's because it's a church school there, so everybody just kind of left school and just kind of built their church right there. But my thing is, why is a little ways down, and then you got a little ways over the highway, you got the Potter's House. Then you got Friendship West. And I don't know if those people do work in the hood, but I'm just saying, why is there no Potter's House school? Why is there no Friendship West Bank? And I'm not talking about a Friendship West or a Potter's House inside of the church. I'm talking about like Bank of America, like Chase. Why are we sitting up here? And I know exactly why they do it. They do it because the money goes right back into the church. The moment you step into the church, ATM, boom, the money's going back into the church. Why is there no schools? Why is there no grocery stores? Why is there no nothing? Why? Because they want this money to go back into the church. And I just think that's very greedy. If I have a lot, I'm not concerned about me getting any more. I'm concerned about my people getting more.
Well, here's the thing. I'm not going to say all churches don't, because there's a lot of churches that are in the community, and I see them. But you know why? You know who's...
I don't mean in the community like you knocking at my door, giving me a damn pamphlet, talking about come to our church. I mean, hey, is your light bill paid up today? Is your rent okay? Right. You got food here? That type of thing.
Well, and two, it's a two-sided thing. I'm going to speak to it on both sides. You know who's going into the communities? You know who is doing all the work?
Who?
The dance ministries. A lot of the dance ministries are going into these neighborhoods, and they're spending whatever they have, and they are being those driving forces for change. A lot of times when you log on social media, you'll see dance ministries in the protests. You'll see dance ministries marching. You'll see dance ministries out representing the church as a whole. Why? Because we are more radical. We are bold. We don't mind being that voice. And I think that's why even more so, we should be respected, is because we have a heart to serve. We are out there every day on the front lines, using our platforms of ministry to impact change. I know me, myself, in my circle, We have calls all the time. What can we do to better Dallas as a whole? I like working in my Lord, y'all, I dropped y'all on the floor. I like working in my own city.
Yeah.
I don't like going. Why should I go way to somewhere else to better that neighborhood when my city is in need? Why should I go way over there? And so, and let me say this. There's a lot of people who manipulate the church, too. They'll come in and say, I need this, I need that, I need this, and the church will continue to do it, and then we will never see these people again. Like, we won't see these people again. And so I think the church as a whole, and people, too, have trust issues with each other.
Yeah.
The church don't trust people who haven't been serving for a long time, and people don't trust the church because they've been church hurt in the past. They've been hurt by the church, or people in the church, not the church as a general, but they've been hurt by people in the church. So when they come in church, people are already guarded. Like, okay, you know,
what are you here for?
Yeah, what are you here for? Like, why are you coming to me? I don't want to sign anything. I don't want to do this. I'm not asking. But we as a people need to establish the trust again. And that's going to take conversations like this to be had between the church and the people. Hey, I want to be positive influence in your life. What can we do to build that rapport back? What can we do? And it's going to take open dialogue, just like racial injustice. It's going to take conversations and dialogue to understand both sides of the story. And why I'm able to understand is because I took the time to have that dialogue with other leaders. Why do y'all look at dance ministries this way? And what the consensus was, a lot of leaders didn't know how important dance ministry was, didn't know the foundation. And so I was able to teach leaders, hey, this is what dance ministry is, and this is how it can impact people. And once the light bulb went off upstairs, they were like, oh.
You know what I think is that I think praise, dance, and miming reaches a younger generation, and that's where we need to focus on. I'm sorry, but the older generation is almost passing.
Yeah.
What is this? The age of Aquarius. We're all waking up. We're all getting to know different things and different people. I mean, thanks to the internet or whatever like that, we're communicating with other people about different things and how to better ourselves as the human race or whatever like that. So I just feel like they should focus in on the ministry that gets the younger people, because that's the generation to come.
Yeah, that's the church to come. And
so nobody wants to sing hymns no more. We want our music to be upbeat. We want it to be crunk. That's why Headbusters went viral, because it was like, oh shoot, everybody
we finally have something that speaks to us.
Yeah, and that's exactly what dancing ministry, the mime ministry and the praise dancing is. Dancing, yes, it's gospel, but it's dancing. It's something to captivate our eyes as a younger generation.
It's creative, and a lot of our young millennials, they are creatives. They are creative beings, and so they don't want to just sit in the pews and listen to somebody preach at them for 3 hours. They want something they can get involved in. They want to feel included. So with their
inclusion,
with their mindset, our millennials are creative. And so dance ministry and mime ministry gives them an opportunity to express their creativity through a different art form. I can do this for God? You telling me I can put on some face paint and invoke emotion through a song for God? Like, that's dope. Like, I was crumping in the world, but now I can crump for God.
I can crump for Jesus.
Yeah, and what's funny about that, I actually created a group called Crime. And people was like, what's that? Crump and mime sharing the same space. And we would dance together. And it was so dope that it's just started speaking to a lot of younger generations. And we used to have crime. I call it the crime scene, where we used to have crump artists come and mime ministries come, and they would like literally go ham together. And it was just so
Have you done anything with Jonathan Scott?
Yeah, me and John done. He was actually in my group for a while, but then he left to pursue his own thing.
Jonathan, if you hear this, come out. Come talk to me, buddy.
Yeah, John, hey. And that's he was on our step team. That's shout out to my bro, man, Jonathan Scott. He's an awesome dancer.
Yeah, I see him all around.
But you know,
going to Miami,
right? He's doing it big.
Yeah, he's doing it big.
We're just doing it in our respective industries. And I tell people all the time, dance ministry speaks to a generation that is crying out. A lot of our millennials are looking for an outlet, and they don't have it. And unfortunately, the church is closing the doors, and they're knocking like, hey, I need you to understand me. I'm dealing with this. We have social injustice. We have, not only do we have social injustice, I have all these things going on in my life, but all you want to talk about is how I'm not living right. Okay, cool. I get that, but can we speak to the suicidal thoughts I was having last night? Can you speak to being black in America? Can you speak to that too? Can you not just only preach at me about my life, but can you preach at me about the climate that I'm living in?
And I think that's why mime is so powerful. It's because it's no one speaking.
Right.
It's just moving.
But it's universal. Yeah. And I think that's why even through the protests, that video had like 20,000 views and like...
Yeah, it kind of went viral, bro.
Yeah, it went viral.
Definitely went viral.
It was crazy. I didn't know. Somebody had to tell me, you know, your video got like 20,000 views. I'm like, oh, I was just doing something to represent God in the culture because I was the only gospel ministry artist that was at the protest. And they respected, there was some, actually John was there and a couple of other people that I knew from the dance world, and they spoke to how authentic my ministry was and was like, hey, you got to get them up. You got to get them up. And so when they put me up, it broke open the conversation because I wanted to show people we can be vocal but still be
silent.
Yeah,
at the same time,
and be tactful, and be let's kill people with our mindset. Let's kill people with our way of life and how we live. Let's show people that we can be more than just radical and breaking things and being angry, because we as black people already have the stereotype of being angry. So now let's do it a different way.
So it's pretty much bringing the calm to the storm.
Correct. Bringing that calm, bringing that peace, and showing people a different side to warfare. Now I can war in silence. Now I can war with my mind. Now I can war with my lifestyle. I don't have to go out and break 1,000 things. I don't have to go out and cuss everybody out. Now I can just maneuver skillfully and tactfully and use my intellect.
And actually peacefully.
Right.
I mean, quiet is the highest form of being peaceful. I mean, have you ever gotten into an argument with someone and they're just screaming and yelling and you're just like...
And that's how I do.
And it's silent, and eventually, and this is a psychological thing too, it's proven psychologically, if you let somebody rant and rave and scream and yell and you don't say anything at all, eventually they'll see how ridiculous they look and they'll stop.
Yeah.
So you guys coming in and pray and miming, excuse me, and praise dancing and miming,
right,
and that is a silent type of worship,
right,
then nobody can do anything but be quiet too.
Right. And that's the thing. When you look at us, we command the room and we are atmosphere changers. So when we come into the room, it may be a lot of anger going on. There may be a lot of unrest. There may be a lot of dealing with a whole lot of things. But when you have us go forth, now there's like peace that comes over the place. And people are taking into a secret place, a private place where they can reflect in those 8 to 10 minutes that we're up there. That's your time to really personally reflect and really ask yourself, man, am I really doing this? Man, is that really what I look like? Man, I shouldn't have cussed that lady out yesterday. Man, I shouldn't have hit that person yesterday. Those are moments of reflection.
Wait a minute, hold up. Take it back to the hit somebody. That you shouldn't hit somebody yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, because we do it, and I don't want people to get this misconstrued, is that we all do things every day. Me, I'm not perfect. So there's moments where I'm like, I'm going in. But listen, I always come back to that moment of reflection when I am able to get into my secret place in my ministry and really speak to people through it. It puts me in a place of calm. Because how can I tell you about peace if I'm not living it? How can I tell you about hell if I'm not walking through it? How can I tell you how to be, be in life if I'm not walking in your shoes? And I think even as dance ministries, what people don't realize is that God uses us to walk in people's lives. We walk in people's shoes. We have to know how it feels. Because how can we minister a song to you that speaks to a life situation if we haven't dealt with that place?
Yeah.
We have to. That's just the way. And I don't think people understand how much hell we go through. in dance ministry. We deal with a lot of opposition. We deal with persecution. People don't understand our art form. We have to consistently defend. We have to consistently talk about it. We have to consistently educate.
Do you feel like the older generation before mime? Because I remember way back when I was younger, miming wasn't a thing.
It wasn't popular.
Yeah, it wasn't a thing. I didn't even know it existed,
Right.
Honestly. And do you think that the older generation, with the transformation of how younger people is trying to worship, as far as like we talked about the Lecrae,
Right.
the gospel rapper, we talk about Kanye, we talk about miming with secular music.
Right.
And do you think that the younger generation, the older generation, give you guys slack because they feel like you guys are trying to bring secular things from the world into the church?
I think that's a stereotype we all got when we were in ministry. I know I received that. You bring this worldly thing into the church. But what we got to understand is the Bible says everything God created was good. So this is stuff that God already created. This is stuff that God already ordained. The music, the things that we call secular, they take it from the church. They took it from the foundations of God. A lot of artists will tell you some of their inspirations were the Clark sisters. Some of their inspirations were Kirk Franklin. Some of their inspirations.
He's a big one. Kirk Franklin. He had people crunk in the church.
Yeah. When Stomp came out, they were playing that in the clubs. Like, they were playing it legit in the clubs.
And another one was the Kanye West, Jesus walk. And he said it in his song that they won't, if they play this in the club, my record won't get played.
Right. And so it's crazy that secular artists have more confidence to be who they are rather than us that are believers. Because secular artists are believers too. And they just express it differently. But what to go back to your question, I feel like we all went through that persecution where there was a new wave coming into the church. It was the newness that God was bringing, a fresh wind. Because the Bible says you can't bring old wine into new wineskins. So you can't bring that same flavor of the tradition and try to grab the younger generation.
You know what old wine is? Old grapes.
Yeah. And it's like...
I learned that whenever I had... I learned about like old ass wine whenever I had some grapes and I had them in my bag for like 3 days and it's Texas heat and it turned into wine in my bag. I ate some of the grapes and it tastes like wine.
You know what? I'm done with you.
And I was driving my truck and I spit them all out. I'm sorry, that was way off.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, with the new wave, the younger generation is looking for something that they can grab hold to.
Yeah.
What does their God look like? What does their relationship look like? What does their worship look like? It looks like creative. It looks like crunk, as you said, or a hype. It looks colorful. It looks, fashionable. It looks unique. Those are the attributes to describe the younger generation's worship and praise. It's not going to look like the white pantyhose and stockings that grandma and them used to wear. Now we want to wear, fedoras and collar shirts and look fashionable.
Yeah, Michael Todd is a good one.
I love Michael Todd.
Yeah, he's a great. He's one of the innovators of the new wave of preaching.
Right.
Because he pulled and who else? The pastor of Friendship. What is his name?
Freddie Haynes.
Freddie Haynes. He's another one that was a upcoming new inspiration of the new wave of preaching because
it has to be.
Yeah, because he understands that the younger generation is the church. I can't depend on the old generation anymore because that way is over and done with.
Over and done.
And I need to get ready to make my church presentable to grab Gen Z. Now I got to work with millennials. They're the new 20, 27, 30, 35-year-olds. Now that if I create them to look like those creators and be creative for God, then I grab Gen Z automatically.
Right, because you automatically magnetize what they do already. A lot of them already are artists. A lot of them are dancers. A lot of them are graphic designers. They are very creative individuals. And let me say this, the church is afraid of putting millennials in position because they're afraid of the view of the church or the aspect of the church to be changed. But there is change. Even the Bible says that there's a season and a time for everything. There is a new change coming, and we have to evolve just like the world evolves. If we don't evolve as the church, how can we keep up with the flow of things? And how do we expect to grab a generation where life is moving fast for them? Life is moving in a whole different direction. They're living in a climate of social injustice. They're living in a climate of where they have to defend who they are. They're living in a climate where some of them are dealing with their feelings of sexuality and we're not accepting. There's a lot of different things that are into play, and if we don't evolve, we're going to miss the move of grabbing these people.
And then the church will be dead.
And the church will die.
Especially your church, if you're not grabbing on to some of those topics, you're going to miss out.
We have to talk about these things. Like I have a show that I'm getting ready to start. Called Closet Conversations with God's Chosen, and what it's going to be, we're going to talk about masturbation. We're going to talk about, alcoholism. We're going to talk about
sexuality is a big one.
Sexuality,
because a lot of people are this whole crazy, LBG, and I don't like to say that I'm in that community because a lot of things with that community is going left real fast. And
it's a lot of death.
I just can't do it because it's a lot of things that I don't subscribe to. Yes, I am gay, but I don't subscribe to a lot of the things that they're talking about, and I don't care to. And maybe I am old school, but I just don't. And so I think that that's a really good one that you should hit on, because now you got non-binary, you got gay, you got lesbian, you got all this, and now they're trying to bring P into it, which is pedophilia.
I got lost. I
just stopped. They're talking about is 100 different genders out there.
Yeah, I can't keep
There is only 2, dude.
Yeah,
Get real.
I can't keep up with the letters. It's so many letters being added.
I'm not gonna keep up with I'm not gonna entertain the letter thing. You either like boys, or you're either a boy that like boys. Okay, you're either a girl that like girls, or you're a girl that like boys. There's no in between with me. I'm not gonna entertain it. I'm not. It's ridiculous. I'm not going to entertain it.
And we have to understand that as believers, if we just be the light, I think a lot of people are afraid to touch on sexuality and touch on these things because they're afraid of, it's going to come into my church and spread like a disease. But if we just be the light in front of people, if you really want to see people delivered and changed, if you really want to see people come out of things that you want to come out of, not saying that I'm going to force anybody to do anything that they don't want to do.
But at least educate them.
But I'm going to educate them and give them an option and let them know that there is an option, that there is life after the decision. Like, you don't have to be prisoned or caged in this thing, because the society will cage you and say, this is who you are, this is who you'll always be, and you can't be anything outside of that. But me as a believer is going to say, you know what? You may want to do this today, but guess what? There's an option to do this, this, and this, if you want to. This is what God is offering. This is what God has in the kingdom. And somebody said they have a question, so put your question on there. But I believe in giving people life choices, and giving people the choice to live their truth. But while they're living their truth, give them some tools to discover themselves. Help them to see how to go about discovering who they are. A lot of people are walking around here and really don't know who they are.
Yeah, it's a lot of that going on, and I think that that's a lot to do with the climate of today's, everything that's going on in today's time. It's the climate of it. You got this going on TV. Every time you turn on the TV, there's some gay happening. No, I'm gay, so I can say this. It's some gay coming on, but even me as a gay woman, it's like, just like, oh shit, another gay show, another gay this, another gay person. Like, why did we need that in the storyline? Where does he come in at? And then every time you turn on TV, another drug song, another shoot 'em up song. Like, okay, we can't talk about empowerment of black people, empowerment of not just black people, just anybody. We can't. It's just if you're one of those people that watch TV every day, you will turn into what you watch. It's kind of like you are what you eat. Well, guess what? You are what you watch too. If I watch MTV all day and I see Pop Smoke, rest in peace, or I see Lil Uzi or whatever, eventually I'm gonna want to be one of those guys. Why? Because money and girls, and girls and all of those good things in life that the world promised you that if you got this and this, then you're successful. But what about just regular success, that I got a place to stay, I'm making money off of what I love to do, and my family loves me? Isn't that success too?
And this is the thing. Let me. You said a lot of good things, and I'm gonna address every single one of them. First, going back to why every time you look up, there is a gay thing. It's because the world attaches itself to whatever's marketable. Just like Black Lives Matter is so marketable right now. That's why I'm wearing this shirt. It wasn't to promote Black Lives Matter. It's to show people. Now, all of a sudden, we wear this on our chest with pride. But what about when Black Lives Matter wasn't popular? Where was all of the protesting? Even
black people didn't even believe that our lives mattered. But we were shooting each other down every single day. And now it's like all this trendy, spiritual stuff.
It's a movement. So now we jump on the bandwagon and say, Black Lives Matter. But the world jumps on whatever is marketable. Whatever I can make $1 off of, I'm going to attract to that. So the reason why you see a lot of gay things on TV now is because of the climate. Now, gay rights is coming up, all of this stuff. And so I'm going to get a piece of the pie while I can. And to talk about success, because I have a question on here that I have to address too on my live. But to talk about success is more than just promoting what's marketable. It's showcasing those people that don't get a chance to get seen. What about the person that's steady processing in their local city? What about the people that's creating mentorship and opportunities for young men? What about the girl who makes cookies for the local youth group at her church? Like, I believe in showcasing local heroes. What about those people who don't get promoted because they don't have a platform? Let's target those people. Let's show those stories. That's what success is. Success is doing what's good, doing what's needed for your community when nobody's looking. There's a lot of people that have a lot of integrity that does a lot of things that don't get showcased because it's not popular, because it doesn't follow the trend. And that was me for a long time. I didn't really get the notoriety per se, or people knowing my name, that because I wasn't one to broadcast everything. I was one to kind of I just want to do the work. There's people out there like me that just want to do the work. They don't want to have to put it everywhere for you to see it. But if you see it, just acknowledge it. Say, hey, sis, I'm proud of you. Keep doing it. And that's something that we need more of in our community as black people and as believers. We need to show support and congratulatory praise towards other people. If somebody's doing something dope, let them know you appreciate them. Hey,
and not in my damn DMs either. No, say it right there in my comments, bro.
Say it publicly. Say it publicly, because I would rather you love me publicly than love me privately. Don't send me a message to my DMs that you're not willing to put on my page, because I'd rather love you out in the open. Why? Because that not only shows my character, but that shows other people that this is how we should be towards one another. This is how we should do it. Just because we come from opposite worlds. Here's the thing. She told me before we did this broadcast, I'm going to try not to cuss. Guess what? I don't care about that. Because my concern is being the light. I don't care about when you walk in a room, you don't care what the house look like when it's dark, but when you turn the light on, everything's there. It's not about what happens when you walk in the room. It's about what you do while you're in the room to impact what you're doing. So the people that's in your presence, what are you doing to impact them? Are you just targeting what they're doing and what they're saying? Oh, well, you're going to hell because you cussing, But if I come in the room and say, you know what? You don't have to do this. You don't have to do that. There's choices. There's options. And if we showcase these options on a silver platter and really serve people the way we need to, a lot more people will be more inclined to hear us and to be more like God. But a lot of people have tuned out God because of how we as believers have treated people.
Yeah, like an ego trip.
Yeah, yeah.
But I want to get into one more little thing. Mm-hmm. anyone, because of the way that you worship, miming and before miming, praise dancing, have anyone misunderstood or mistaken your sexuality because of your worship of praise?
Yes, all the time. I still get that.
Really?
I still
2020?
2020. And let me tell you, I'm honest about my past. I walked in homosexuality for a long time. Even when I was in high school, I was struggling trying to figure out who I was, because I was, talking to this person, but I was also interested in this person. And it took, shout out to Will, shout out to Corey, shout out to John, all of these people from our high school that supported me in my transition and helping me figure out who supported me in my transition.
All of those people was on my podcast. Which Will? Will Johnson?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I love that guy.
Yeah, so
he's cute too.
It's just like at the end, I still get crucified to that same cross. But what's different now is that I don't answer to it. I allow you to have your opinion. I allow you to think what you're going to think. But when I present my product before you, it's going to speak for itself. We have to get out of trying to defend ourselves to everybody, because there's certain people that don't have value in our life for us to defend ourselves to. If people really don't have value in your life, don't spend your time justifying who you are to them. Because
it's like talking to a brick wall.
Because they'll constantly have their opinion. They'll constantly dig up your skeletons and say, hey, you remember when you did this? That's why it's a skeleton. It no longer lives. It's dead. So when you're digging up skeletons, there's nothing but remains of what I used to be. That is not who I am. And just like a grave, when you dig up the skeleton, that person is no longer living. So as people, don't allow people to give life to your skeletons. Allow your skeletons to continue to be skeletons and tell people, you know what, that used to be me. But I'm glad you saw the transition from here to now. But if you want to keep looking at that, go ahead. That's dead. If you want to keep looking at death, because what you are, but you'll become what you speak. And so the Bible says, so a man thinketh, so is he. So if you continue to want to dig up my past, guess what you're going to dig up? You're going to dig up all the things that you currently are. Because the reason why a lot of people dig up your past is because it's what they're struggling with now. And they want to see you. And their quickest way to make them feel good about themselves
is to bring you down.
It's to bring you back to where you used to be. Oh, I'd rather see you. I tell people this all the time, and I'm going to say this, and we're going to continue. People will rather celebrate your sin than celebrate your success. They'll rather celebrate you when you were down and out, struggling, than celebrate you when you're on the mountain peak and God has blessed you tremendously. Don't allow people to bring you back down when God has lifted you up. So if God has done something great for you in your life, don't allow people to bring you back to a time when you were struggling. Because guess what? That's not me anymore. I struggled so that I could have this life of celebratory praise. Now that I'm up here, I give God all the glory to where I am now. I tell people all the time, had you met me 5 years ago, you wouldn't have thought the same thing that you think now. If you would have met me 10 years ago, if you would have met me in high school, you would definitely wouldn't have thought I would be ministering the gospel. You would have thought I'd be in somebody's club and somebody video twerking or whatever. But because God has made me over, and because God was so good, when he made this transition, I no longer have to reflect on the past. Now I can look towards my future, for sure.
Well, answer that question that you wanted to answer on live, and we're going to roll it out.
Okay, somebody asked me, why is it that people have problems with women pastors? Why do people have problems with women pastors?
Because the Bible focused solely on men.
Right.
All the women in the Bible was either serving a man or was a prostitute.
Well, let me
I mean, you have one woman in there that like saved somebody or something like that from like a whole bunch of like thieves or something, or like warrior men or something like that. But that's the only thing I can figure out up against. And the only one that was like super honorable in the Bible that I feel was like Mary, Jesus' mother.
Let me say this. A lot of times we get it misconstrued. When the Bible speaks of men, it's speaking of both genders. Let me help people who are not as educated in the Word of God. And I have a biblical studies degree, so this is where this intellect comes into play. When the Bible speaks of man, it speaks of both man and woman, man as a mankind. And a lot of times we look at in the Bible where it says men, 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 but it's really saying mankind should do this. And so a lot of people take the scripture that women should be seen and not heard, and that's in Revelations. But at that time, Jesus was talking, or God was talking specifically to a group of women who were out of order, who were doing things out of order. God said, you have to shut your mouth before you bring damnation to what's going on. But women pastors, I have no issue with it. The only thing I'm going to say is this. It does not flow with the order of things the way that God designed it. He designed man first to have dominion, then woman should follow. How can women lead a group of men? And that's something that we have to ask ourselves. If you want to follow a woman pastor, who am I to tell you is wrong? But consult God and to make sure that you're learning. A lot of people will go with it because it's popular. Oh, it's a woman, so it's history breaking. That's the same reason why they want a woman president. It's because it's history breaking. But is that woman really speaking what change that needs to happen? When you look at a candidate for what they can do, not what they are as society. Not because they're breaking history, but can they break history with what they're willing to do to impact change? And so I would say this. Consult God, women pastors, I have no issue. I know some women that can preach. But do I think they should be pastoring? I don't know. Because I think that men should always have, as the man, we should always have dominion. And so that's where my struggle is. But you always consult God. So I hope that answers the question. There's no black or white to it. There's always going to be some gray because opinions come into play there. Yeah. But whoever you decide to follow as a leader, just make sure they are giving you the truth.
For sure.
That's it.
And there you go, DeMarcus Hicks. Go ahead and tell everybody all of your social handles and where they can get those dope T-shirts and everything that you want to put in that I will also have in the description.
I got you. So you can find me on Facebook under DeMarcus Hicks. I also have a ministry page on Facebook, God's Chosen, with a Z, CHOZEN. You can find me on Instagram as God's Chosen Mime, all together, with a Z again. You can find me on anything God's Chosen with a Z. That's my little personal thing. And the shirts can be purchased from takeoverdallas.com. They can be purchased on my Facebook page, and I'll give you all of that stuff. I have shirts that say "We Mime for Justice." I have shirts that say just praise, different types of things, slogans. This is not just a moment. This is a movement. That's one of my shirts. So just to speak to our climate and to give encouragement. And I appreciate you for allowing me to have this platform and this time to express not only my God, but who I am as a person.
For sure. And you can also follow me on Instagram, Facebook. I just recently got up a Twitter, and all of those are an hour with Crowder, except Instagram, which is Crowder _the_great. And we're out.